Hello guys, welcome to our channel Pinku for you. Today I will discuss about medieval India. I am less as a teacher and more as a storyteller. Listen what I am saying carefully so that you can enjoy this video. Just listen like a story instead of lesson. Hope you people will gonna enjoy this video. This is the first part in medieval India. We will start with Islam. Let me start with Islam. Before that, we will discuss what happened in between ancient India and medieval India. Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan is one of the great ruler in ancient India. He is the last great ruler in ancient India. After his death, there were 1200 regional kingdoms emerged in North India. After his death, there were 1200 regional kingdoms emerged in North India. This phase is called the state of Indian feudalism with decentralized. This phase is called feudalism, Indian feudalism with decentralized. After his death, tripartite struggle also happened. That means nothing but tripartite struggle means three kingdoms fought for one region, that is Kannauj. For the place Kannauj, three kingdoms were fought. Those three kingdoms were Palas of Bengal and Pratiharas of Madhya Pradesh and Rashtrakutas of Maharashtra. These three kingdoms fought for the place Kannauj because Kannauj is the center for all the trade activities and all. It is currently in UP state. For this Kannauj, three kingdoms fought and finally Rashtrakutas under the leadership of King Dhruv who won this Kannauj. This is called tripartite struggle. This is what actually happened before entering of Islam into India. Now we will see Islam. Islam was born at a place called Makkah in Arabia. This founder was Prophet Muhammad. It was born in Makkah in Arabia. This founder is Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad is the founder of this Islamic religion. The word Islam means submission to God. Prophet means it is nothing but the messenger of God. This term refers to the messenger of God. This Prophet Muhammad, he founded the Islamic religion. Basically, he was a Christian. He started a philosophy in Makkah region, but people from Makkah at 622 AD, they thought that Prophet Muhammad is a mad fellow because of his new philosophies and all. So that these people sent Prophet Muhammad out of from Makkah. Later, what this Prophet Muhammad did is he went to Medina. Medina is another place in Arabia. At Medina, he adopted some new philosophies and after 8 years at 630 AD, he came back to Makkah. But this time he introduced a new religion, that is Islamic religion. Now from Makkah region got attracted to this religion and he said that Allah, who is the creator of this universe, he is the descendant of Allah. So people from Makkah region started converting themselves into this new religion, that is Islamic religion. Now at 632 AD, this Prophet Muhammad died. Within the start of this religion, actually he started at 630 AD, this Islamic religion. After this, within 2 years, he died. Prophet Muhammad died. Now, people who converted themselves into this Islamic religion became blank. They don't know what to do now. Two important famous followers of Prophet Muhammad came forward to guide this Islamic religion people. Those were Ali and Abu Bakr. Ali and Abu Bakr. Ali is the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad. These two people came forward to guide this Islamic religion. People who followed Ali were known as Shia Muslims. And the people who followed Abu Bakr's philosophy were known as Sunni Muslims. As a guider, Abu Bakr introduced two concepts. Those were Khalifa and Caliphate. Abu Bakr introduced two concepts. They were Khalifa and Caliphate. What actually these two terms were? Khalifa means it actually a Muslim ruler. It refers to a Muslim ruler. And what he need to do is he must protect Islam. And then he should extend Islam territory. He must protect Islam and then he must extend Islam territory. This is what his rules. If you want to become Khalifa, you must be a ruler, you must protect Islam and you must extend Islam territory. This Khalifa who is ruling a kingdom, that kingdom is known as Caliphate. Khalifa's kingdom is known as Caliphate. Now, first Caliphate in the world is Umayyad Caliphate. The founder of this Umayyad Caliphate is Azaz Mansur. He is the founder of this Umayyad Caliphate. Commander of this Umayyad Caliphate is Muhammad bin Qasim. Muhammad bin Qasim is the commander of this particular caliphate. Now, according to the rules, what Azaz Mansur has to do is he must protect Islam and then he need to extend Islam. Accordingly, he wanted to extend Islam. So what he did is he sent Muhammad bin Qasim to invade world. That means he must occupy some territories and then he wanted to convert the people from those territories into Islamic religion. So in order to this, Azaz Mansur sent Muhammad bin Qasim. And Muhammad bin Qasim firstly came to Sindh region. He wanted to conquer India, so he came to Sindh region. Sindh invasion happened at 712 AD. It is the first Muslim-Hindu battle which is happened. At the time, Sindh region was ruling by a king called Dahir. After hearing this name, don't think like he is a Muslim. Actually, he is a Hindu Brahmin ruler who is ruling this Sindh region. Now, what Muhammad bin Qasim did is he fought against with Dahir. This battle is known as Battle of Rohr. This is the first Hindu-Muslim battle. Not Bor, this is Rohr. After this battle, Muhammad bin Qasim killed this Dahir and then he occupied Sindh region. Now what happened is, after occupying this Sindh region, they converted some people into Islamic religion and then they translated Charaka Samhita. It was an Ayurvedic medicine book which was wrote by Charaka under Kanishka dynasty. They learnt chess, which was a famous game at that time. After this, he came to Indian borders. In north part of Rajasthan, one ruler is ruling from Pratihara dynasty. His name is Nagabhatta. Nagabhatta I. He is ruling the north part of Rajasthan. Muhammad bin Qasim came till north part of Rajasthan. At that time, battle was happened between Nagabhatta and Muhammad bin Qasim. This battle is known as First Battle of Rajasthan. Now what happened is Nagabhatta defeated this Muhammad bin Qasim. He he stopped Muhammad bin Qasim from entering into India, so that Muhammad bin Qasim not entered into India. This is what actually happened. Umayyad Caliphate was defeated by Abbasid Caliphate. Abbasid Caliphate is another caliphate. This Umayyad Caliphate was defeated by Abbasid Caliphate. In Abbasid Caliphate, there were lot of ministers were there. Those ministers were called as Amirs. The word Amir means noble ministers. So in this Abbasid Caliphate, there were lot of ministers, and then these ministers were claimed themselves into rulers, so they want themselves into caliphs. So this Umayyad Caliphate got declined within a short period because of this Amirs. Caliphate later declined by their own ministers, that is Amirs, and they formed into many caliphs. So many dynasties emerged out of this Abbasid Caliphate. Abbasid Caliphate later declined by their own ministers, that is Amirs, and they formed into many caliphs. So many dynasties emerged out of this Abbasid Caliphate. So many dynasties emerged out of this Abbasid Caliphate. One among them is Samanid dynasty. One among them is Samanid dynasty. In this Samanid dynasty border, there were slaves. That is, Turks were present in this Samanid dynasty border. What this Samanid dynasty people did is they adopted the slaves and they converted them into Muslims, and they appointed as their sepoys, as their army men. When the Samanid dynasty is going to decline, one of these slaves took this as an opportunity. What this Turkish slave did is he took an opportunity at the time of the declination of Samanid dynasty. Decline means it's nothing but antarinchipovam in Telugu. And this Turkish slave took this as an opportunity. This Turkish slave name is Alptigin. Alptigin. What he did is he started establishing his own kingdom at the time of Samanid dynasty declination, and his kingdom is known as Ghaznavid Empire. Alptigin kingdom is known as Ghaznavid Empire. He established his own territory, that is Ghaznavid, and capital is Ghazni. You might have already studied in your primary school about Ghazni Muhammad, right? This is the background of Ghaznavid Empire. During school days, we used to laugh when our teacher says Ghazni by imagining that Ghazni movie. Let's move on to this. These Turkish slaves also converted into Islam and adopted themselves into caliphs. At the time of declination of Samanid dynasty, one of the Turkish slave took this as an opportunity and established his own kingdom, that is Ghaznavid Empire, and his capital is Ghazni. Ghazi is a title which is given to army man. That is how this Ghaznavid Empire name derived. This Ghaznavid Empire became very popular. During this time, one of our Hindu ruler who is ruling in north part of Jammu and Kashmir. So what he did is he went to battle with this Ghaznavid Empire. His name is Jaipal. Jaipal of Hindu Shahi ruler, Hindu Shahi dynasty ruler, got scared because he is ruling in borders of India. So he went to battle with the Ghaznavid Empire. So what Ghaznavid Empire did is they fought with Jaipal and they defeated Jaipal and they entered into India. Some historians says that because of this Jaipal only Ghaznavid Empire came to India. Islam rulers entered into India because of this Jaipal. During these days, we all have cell phones, map, everything is there. But at that time, they doesn't know proper route at all. So Alptigin also doesn't know about India. He know, but he doesn't have idea to conquer India. Because of this Jaipal only, he came to India. This is how Islam entered into India. Finally, Islam entered into India. After Alptigin, next ruler is Sabuktigin. This Sabuktigin battled with many Hindu Shahi rulers and occupied so many places. After Sabuktigin, next ruler is Muhammad Ghazni. He is the son of Sabuktigin, Muhammad Ghazni. Muhammad Ghazni is very much interested to plundering activities instead of occupying territory. He invaded 17 times. He invaded India for 17 times. He is not involved to occupy territory. He just involved in plundering activities. Plundering means in dochukovodam in Telugu. He tried to plunder important temples and he destroyed so many temples also. He plundered Somnath temple, Madura, Kannauj, Nagarkot in Punjab. So many things he plundered. His last plundering is in 1030 AD, 1030 AD. He died in 1030 AD at Ghazni. Muhammad Ghazni is very much cruel ruler. What he did is, instead of occupying territories, he used to plunder whatever he saw. At that time, Somnath temple is very richest temple in India. He destroyed it and he plundered so many things in the temple. After him, there was no proper rulers in Ghaznavid Empire. So, Ghaznavid Empire slowly got declined. Out of the Ghaznavid Empire, one new empire emerged, that is Seljuk Empire. Seljuk Empire emerged. Later period, this Seljuk Empire divided into two kingdoms. Those were Gurid and Kure. In Gurid, one ruler is famous, Ghori Muhammad. Muhammad Ghori. Now it's time for Muhammad Ghori to invade India. He is interested in plundering but also to occupy territory. This Muhammad Ghazni have only interest in plundering activities, but Muhammad Ghori has interested in plundering as well as to occupy territory. Now in 1191 AD, Muhammad Ghori came to India and fought with Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan, who is ruling in north part of Rajasthan. He fought with Prithviraj Chauhan. This battle is known as Battle of Terain. Battle of Terain. In this battle, Muhammad Ghori fought with Prithviraj Chauhan. He is from Chauhan dynasty. Prithviraj Chauhan defeated this Muhammad Ghori. Prithviraj Chauhan won and he defeated Muhammad Ghori. Now Muhammad Ghori went back to his country after 1 year, that is 1192 AD. It's actually happened in 1191 AD. So after 1 year in 1192 AD, Muhammad Ghori came back to India and again battled with Prithviraj Chauhan. But this time he actually took help of Prithviraj Chauhan's father-in-law, who is Jayachandra. He took the help of Jayachandra and he defeated this Prithviraj Chauhan and killed him. Muhammad Ghori killed Prithviraj Chauhan. This battle is known as Battle of Terain 2. This is Battle of Terain 1 and this is Battle of Terain 2. Muhammad Ghori took the help of Jayachandra, who is the father-in-law of Prithviraj Chauhan, and then he killed this Prithviraj Chauhan and occupied the territory. He killed Jayachandra also. In 1193 AD, he killed Jayachandra. Now, what this Muhammad Ghori did is, he appointed his slave, that is Qutbuddin Aibak. He appointed his slave Qutbuddin Aibak as governor. He appointed Qutbuddin Aibak as the governor. Now, what Qutbuddin Aibak did is, after the death of Muhammad Ghori, he established his own kingdom, that is Mamluk dynasty. Mamluk dynasty. After the death of Muhammad Ghori, this Qutbuddin Aibak established his own dynasty, that is Mamluk dynasty, and moved to Delhi. This is how Delhi Sultanate emerged. He changed the meaning of the word Sultan. Actually, Sultan means slave. What this Qutbuddin Aibak did is, he changed this name Sultan into emperor. This is how Delhi Sultanate has introduced into India. Now we will get into brief summary about all what we have discussed. Okay? From starting onwards, we will have a brief summary. I will explain you slowly. Listen carefully again. Islam. Islam was started by Prophet Muhammad at 622 AD, but people from Mecca not shown much interest about this religion. Later, at 630 AD, again he started this philosophy, that is new philosophy, Islam. But this time, people from Mecca converted themselves into this new religion, that is Islam. At 632 AD, Prophet Muhammad died. Now, two important followers of Prophet Muhammad came forward to guide the Islamic people. Those were Abu Bakr and Ali. Ali introduced a concept called Shia. Abu Bakr introduced Sunni. Sunni or Sunni, no matter. Okay. People who followed Ali were known as Shia Muslim, and people who followed Abu Bakr were known as Sunni Muslims. And what Abu Bakr did is, he introduced concepts like Caliph and Caliphate. Caliph means ruler and Caliphate means his kingdom. Among this first caliphate was Umayyad Caliphate. This founder is Hajjaj Mansur. His commander is Muhammad bin Qasim. Hajjaj Mansur wanted to extend his Islamic territory, so he sent Muhammad bin Qasim to conquer the world. Meanwhile, he conquered Sindh region and he killed Dahir, a Hindu ruler. This is the first battle of Hindu-Muslim. And then he came to Rajasthan. There, Nagabhatta, he is from Pratihara dynasty. Nagabhatta stopped Muhammad bin Qasim to entering into India. Later, this Umayyad Caliphate declined by Abbasid Caliphate. Abbasid Caliphate defeated this Umayyad Caliphate. In this Abbasid Caliphate, there were a lot of ministers were there. Those ministers started themselves into caliphs. They established their own kingdom. One among them is Sammanid dynasty. In this dynasty border, there were Turks, now present day Turkestan. These Turks were slaves. Actually, what this Sammanid dynasty people did is, they converted these Turkish slaves into Muslims, and then they offered them as higher position, that is army men, in this Sammanid dynasty. One of the slaves took this as an opportunity. At the time of Sammanid dynasty got declined, that is Alp-Tigin, and he established his own kingdom, that is Ghaznavid. Ghazi is the term for army men. Sultan is the term for slave. So this Sultan, that is slave, what he did is, He established his own kingdom, that is Ghaznavid Empire, at the time of declination of Samanid dynasty, and his capital is Ghazni. The term Ghaznavid came from Ghazi. Ghazi means army man. This Samanid dynasty people adopted Turks slaves and offered them as Ghazi position. At the time of declination of this Samanid dynasty, one of the Ghazi, he took this as an opportunity and he established his own kingdom, that is Ghaznavid Empire, and his capital is Ghazni. After Alp-Tigin, the next successor was Sabuk-Tigin. This Alp-Tigin firstly conquered India. He defeated Jaipal, who is ruling at the north part of India. The Sabuk-Tigin's son was Ghazni, Muhammad Ghazni. Instead of occupying territories, he started plundering whatever he saw in India. At the time, Somnath temple was a famous temple. So what he did is he plundered so many important monuments from this temple, and actually he plundered 17 times of India. More than 17 times he plundered. At 1030 AD, he died. Muhammad Ghazni died at 1030 AD. Al-Biruni is the traveler who came along with Muhammad Ghazni. He wrote about Muhammad Ghazni. Nowadays we are all having cell phones, everything, so that our future generation people will come to know about us easily. But during those days, travelers along with kings, they used to travel and they wrote whatever they saw. Al-Biruni is the traveler who came along with Ghazni Muhammad and he wrote everything about Ghazni Muhammad. What this Al-Biruni said is, at the time India has monopoly of Brahmin, so that it became easy for Islam to enter into India. This is what Al-Biruni said, and he said that Ghazni is the hero of Islamic religion. After the death of Muhammad Ghazni, Ghaznavid Empire became weak, so that it was replaced by Seljuk dynasty. This Ghaznavid Empire was replaced by Seljuk dynasty. In later period, this Seljuk dynasty was divided into Ghurid and Kure. In this Ghurid Empire, one famous ruler, Muhammad Ghori, came to India to conquer this India. Muhammad Ghazni's policy is only to plundering activities, not to involve in territory occupation. Whereas Muhammad Ghori's policy is to conquer India, and then he wanted to plunder as well as to extend his kingdom. This Muhammad Ghori, what he did is he battled with Prithviraj Chauhan and he defeated Prithviraj Chauhan at 1192 AD, and then he appointed Qutbuddin Aibak as the governor of that particular region. Qutbuddin Aibak actually is the slave under Muhammad Ghori. Slave means Sultan. After the death of Muhammad Ghori, he established his own kingdom in India, that is Mamluk dynasty. He established Mamluk dynasty after the death of Muhammad Ghori. And then he said that Sultan means not slave. He changed the meaning of the word Sultan. He said that Sultan means emperor, not slave. He defeated some local rulers and occupied Delhi. This is how Delhi Sultanate has started. This is what we have discussed. Now we will see about Delhi Sultanate. We will quickly move on to this Delhi Sultanate. In this Delhi Sultanate, there were 4 dynasties which were ruled. Those were Mamluk dynasty, which ruled from 1206 to 1290. Next, Khilji dynasty, which is ruled from 1290 to 1320. Next, Tughlaq dynasty, which ruled from 1320 to 1440. And lastly, Lodi dynasty, which ruled from 1451 to 1526. These were the 4 dynasties which comes under Delhi Sultanates. Now firstly we will see Mamluk dynasty. The founder of this Mamluk dynasty is Qutbuddin Aibak. A moment back we have discussed about background, everything, how these people entered into India, everything we have discussed. The founder of this Mamluk dynasty is Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak's ruling period is from 1206 to 1210. His ruling period is from 1206 to 1210. He is a very good person. His title is Aibak Lak Baksh, means he used to donate. He is very much involved in donations, so that only he got the title Aibak Lak Baksh. He constructed Qutub Minar. He constructed Qutub Minar in Delhi. In the middle of construction, while he is playing horse polo, suddenly he died. Qutbuddin Aibak died while playing the horse polo at 1210. At 1210 AD, this Qutbuddin Aibak died. After him, his son came to rule, but he is not interested to rule. So that only this Qutbuddin Aibak son-in-law came forward to rule this Mamluk dynasty. He is very much interested to rule. This Qutbuddin Aibak's son-in-law is Iltutmish. His ruling period is from 1211 to 1236. In 1210 to 1211, those 1 year period, Qutbuddin Aibak's son ruled, but he is not interested in ruling activity. So that only this Iltutmish came forward and he started ruling. And this Iltutmish, what he did is, he completed the construction of Qutub Minar. Actually, Qutub Minar was started by Qutbuddin Aibak. Later, in middle, he died. After that, Iltutmish constructed Qutub Minar completely. He shifted capital from Lahore to Delhi. In the period of Qutbuddin Aibak, the capital is Lahore. Now Iltutmish shifted capital from Lahore to Delhi. Famous Mongol leader, that is Chengiz Khan, came during the Iltutmish period. He nominated his daughter Razia as his next successor. He introduced silver coins, that is tanka. He appointed 40 ministers, that is Chahalgani or Chalisa, for decision making activities. He appointed these Chahalgani for all decision making activities. He appointed his daughter as his next successor. Actually, Iltutmish has 3 sons and 1 daughter. But these 3 sons were waste fellows. They are like waste fellows. So that only Iltutmish appointed his only daughter Razia Sultana as his next successor. She is the first woman ruler of Indian territory. Actually, in ancient period we have Prabhavati Gupta and some women rulers also we had, but they were ruling on the behalf of their husband, their children and their father, like that only, not complete rulers. But Razia Sultana is the complete ruler. so that only we call her as India's first woman ruler. However, this Chahal Ghani, that is 40 ministers, not interested under Rajia Sultana's leadership. They want Iltutmish's son as their ruler, so that only they didn't support Rajia Sultana. Her ruling period is from 1236 to 1240. So this Rajia Sultana doesn't got support from these 40 ministers, that is Chahal Ghani. She appointed Yaqut Khan. Yaqut Khan. He is the master of royal horses. She appointed Yaqut Khan for all decision making activities. There was a small story. Al-Tuniya. Al-Tuniya. He is the governor of Batinda. Actually, he spent his childhood days in the palace of Iltutmish. He learnt everything under Iltutmish during his childhood. Now what he did is, during childhood days, that is Al-Tuniya and Rajia Sultana fall in love with each other. This Iltutmish doesn't like it. So Iltutmish sent Al-Tuniya away from his palace. After some years, this Al-Tuniya became the governor of Batinda. He wants to battle with Delhi Sultanates, Mamluk dynasty. But during this time, Rajia Sultana is ruling. Al-Tuniya wants to battle with Rajia Sultana. Rajia Sultana along with Yaqut Khan went to Batinda and had war with Al-Tuniya. Al-Tuniya defeated by Rajia, and Rajia married Al-Tuniya. During their return journey, some local tribes killed both of them. They killed Al-Tuniya as well as Rajia Sultana while they were returning back to Delhi. This is what actually happened. During this time only, Yaqut Khan also died. Now, after Rajia Sultana died, Iltutmish's son came forward to rule. These sons were very poor in all the activities. Now it was clearly showcases, so that one of the minister, that is Balban, came forward and started ruling this Mamluk dynasty. He is one of the greatest ruler in Mamluk dynasty. His ruling period is from 1246 to 1287. Now he became the ruler. Initially he was the one of the minister, that is one of the Chahal Ghani. Initially these ministers didn't accept Balban as their ruler. So Balban tried to impress these ministers. He started new policies and said he is the descendant of Allah. He started new policies like kissing his feet by others, so that there will be a lot of variation of ruler and then ministers. And he celebrated a Persian New Year festival also, that is Nowruz. He is a great administrator and he maintained a spy system also. He tried to break Chahal Ghani because these ministers didn't support Balban. For example, if you are a teacher, assume that if you are a teacher, what if your colleague appointed as principal to the same school? You might have got jealous, right? Similarly, here also, these 40 ministers got jealous of Balban. They never supported this Balban. Now what this Balban did is, he appointed new policies to impress these 40 ministers. However, this Chahal Ghani not changed their opinion on Balban. So what this Balban did is, he killed all these Chahal Ghani. He tried to impress them, but they never impressed with Balban's policies. So that only Balban killed this Chahal Ghani. He tried to elaborate his kingdom. During his period, second Mongol invasion happened. During this second Mongol invasion, Balban's son died. After some years, finally, he appointed his grandson as the ruler, Kaikub. He appointed his grandson Kaikubad as his next successor. Actually, he is a handicapped person and also He is at just 6 years. While he got the throne of Delhi, at the time his age is 6 years, Balban appointed his grandson as his next successor. Taking this as an advantage, one of the local tribe, that is Khilji, defeated this Mamluk dynasty because of this weak ruler, who is Kaikubart, just 6 years of age and also handicapped person. Taking this as an advantage, this Khilji dynasty emerged, and founder of this Khilji dynasty was Jalaluddin Khilji. He is the founder of this Khilji dynasty. His ruling period is from 1290 to 1296. He defeated this Mamluk dynasty. During this Jalaluddin's period, third Mongol invasion happened. Mongols are very much interested in plundering. First Mongol invasion happened during Iltutmish's ruling. Second Mongol invasion happened during Balban's period. Third Mongol invasion happened during Jalaluddin's period. Jalaluddin has one slave. His name is Alauddin. Alauddin was very much interested to occupy this throne. He planned cleverly and then he married Jalaluddin's daughter. Now he became the governor. You might have already saw in Padmavat movie. Actually, Jalaluddin died naturally. Alauddin didn't kill him. Alauddin just killed Jalaluddin's son, not Jalaluddin. After Jalaluddin died, Alauddin wants the throne, but Jalaluddin's son shown much interest to occupy the throne. So Alauddin had many battles. Finally, Alauddin killed Jalaluddin's son and occupied throne. Now it's time for Alauddin to enter Delhi Sultanate. Alauddin's ruling period is from 1296 to 1316. He is very much cruel ruler. He killed Jalaluddin's son to become ruler. He started some new policies like Balban. He abolished intermarriages for noble families, liquor prohibited for noble family women. He introduced land reform, market reforms. He maintained a large standing army. He used to take feedback from army. He used to provide branded horses and also gave ID cards for particular soldiers. He started providing good salaries. To manage all this, there was a department, that is Diwan-e-Araz. Diwan-e-Araz, to maintain all military activities. To maintain this department, he appointed Shahana-e-Mandi. Mandi system was first introduced by Alauddin Khilji. Today also we are using this word Mandi in market reforms. This was first introduced by Alauddin Khilji. Manian is used for secret agents. They used to report things which are happening in market. If anyone makes fraud, means Alauddin Khilji, what he did is he used to punish them severely, like by tying them into trees and killing them by throwing rocks. This is how the punishments will be. So that only he maintained Manian, a secret officer, to look what actually happening in market. During this Alauddin's time, again Mongol invasion happened. Alauddin sent his army 6 times against the Mongols. First 2 were successful, remaining all are failure. Alauddin defeated Ranakarna Deva of Gujarat at 1296 AD. He captured wife of Karnadeva and Malik Kafur. He is very important personality. He is the one who invaded South India. Alauddin Khilji was very much interested in women. Alauddin Khilji is woman addicted. Alauddin Khilji is woman addicted. so that only after defeating kingdoms he used to capture the wife of rulers and he used to present them. He has not shown much interest to intercaste marriage, so that only after defeating kings he used to capture their wives. We have already seen this in Padmavat movie also. That is why Rani Padmini Devi also committed suicide. And then he has occupied Chittor fort, that is Rana Ratan Singh of Mewad. This is about Padmavat movie. Malik Kafur invaded South India while Alauddin invaded North India and western part of India. He defeats Ranachandra Deva of Devagiri for second time and Prataparudra Deva of Warangal, grandson of Rudramadevi. Prataparudra Deva of Warangal, Kakatiya dynasty. He is the grandson of Rudramadevi. This Malik Kafur had battled with Kakatiya dynasty under the leadership of Prataparudra Deva, and then he defeated this Kakatiya dynasty also. And Malik Kafur defeated South Indian dynasties like Hoysala. He occupied till Madurai. And also he installed the victory pillar at Rameshwaram. However, Alauddin did not want to rule South India, so that he asked them to subordinate under Khilji like feudal lords. And finally, Alauddin was killed by Malik Kafur by giving him poison. This is how Alauddin died. And then after him there was no proper rulers in Khilji dynasty. So Khilji dynasty got declined. After Alauddin Khilji there was no powerful ruler. Ghazi Malik. Ghazi Malik. He is also under Khilji dynasty only. He is the governor under Khilji dynasty. Now what he did is he established his own dynasty, and this dynasty name is Tughlaq dynasty. Tughlaq dynasty. He established his own dynasty after the death of Alauddin Khilji, and then he adopted a new name for him, that is Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Original name is Ghazi Malik. Tughlaq dynasty's ruling period is from 1320 to 1414. This Ghazi Malik ruling period is from 1320 to 1325. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq has son, and his name is Ulugh Khan. He wanted to capture Delhi throne as soon as possible. So what he did is he killed his father in 1325 AD. He started ruling, and then he adopted new rules, and he changed his name as Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He is like a mad fellow, and his ruling period is from 1325 to 1351. Now we will discuss about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He is the most educated person in all Delhi Sultanates. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is the most educated person out of all Delhi Sultanates. He tried to shift his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Daulatabad is in Maharashtra, present state Maharashtra. Why he wanted to shift Delhi to Daulatabad means in the middle of India means we can control north part as well as south part. So that only he wanted to shift his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. However, this policy has become failure. He is not able to implement this policy properly. And then he introduced providing loans for agriculture. For agriculture, he used to provide loans For this, he appointed a separate department, that is Diwan-e-Kohi. Diwan-e-Kohi. He appointed this separate department for this activity, that is providing loans for agriculture. This policy is successful. During his period only, Vijayanagara Empire, Deccan Sultanates got emerged. The next successor was Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq is the next successor of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Now we will discuss about Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. His ruling period is from 1351 to 1388 AD. Some people used to call AD as after death. Actually, we shouldn't call as after death. Call it as Anno Domini. Most of the people call it as after death. It's actually Anno Domini. Okay, we will discuss about Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He followed Sharia laws properly. Actually, he is one of the noble minister and then appointed as a ruler with the mutual understanding of these ministers. He dependent on Qazis. Qazi means, in Hindu we have Brahmin priests, right? Like that only in Islam we have Qazis. Qazis are like priests in Islam. He dependent more upon Qazis for all decision making activities. He appointed Telugu Brahmin in his court and converted him into Muslim and given as position Wazir. Wazir means Prime Minister. Now we can discuss some terms like Wazir. Mir Bakshi. Mir Bakshi is Senapati. Diwan means head of revenue department. Under Diwans, there were Iqtadars. Iqtadar means revenue collectors. Revenue collectors. Wazir equals to Diwan plus Prime Minister. Diwan plus Prime Minister equals to Wazir. Iqtadari system became hereditary in later parts. It was also done by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He strictly imposed jizya tax. Jizya tax is the tax which is paid by non-Muslims because they need to get protection under Muslims, Muslim rulers. So that only they used to pay tax. This is for non-Muslim tax. It was strictly imposed by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Now, after he defeated neighbor kingdoms, he used to arrest army men and used to treat them like slaves. Later part, he constructed some monuments. For this construction of monuments, used these slaves. And also in later period, he established factories known as Kardanas. These slaves were appointed in factories as laborers. Firozabad is established by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Now it is Firoz Shah Kotla. Shah Kotla. You might have already known this word, right? Firoz Shah Kotla. This is a cricket stadium in Delhi. This is Firoz Shah Kotla. Okay, and his monuments were, he repaired Qutub Minar again, and then he repaired Jama Masjid also. Firoz Shah established a hospital called Dar ul Shifa. Dar ul Shifa. He established this hospital. He was very much intolerant to Shia Muslims and Sufis also. After the death of Firoz Shah, there was no powerful rulers in Delhi Sultanate, so it started slowly declining. After the death of Genghis Khan, these Mongolians got separated in different branches. Later, Taimur is the ancestor of Babur. We will discuss that part later in our upcoming videos about Babur. He is the founder of Mughal dynasty. Okay, as of now we will discuss this part. Later, Taimur, a Mongolian, again united all these Mongolian branches into one kingdom and started again plundering. After knowing Delhi Sultanate became weak, this Taimur started invading India and occupied northwestern part of India and appointed one of his slave, Khazir Khan. Khazir or Khizr Khan, anything is okay, as the governor of this place. Later, this Mongolian Taimur died. Now, what this Khizr Khan did is he started establishing his own dynasty after the death of Taimur, like what Qutbuddin Aibak did. After the death of Muhammad Ghori, he established a Mamluk dynasty. Similar way, this Khizr Khan, after the death of Taimur, he established his own dynasty, that is Sayyid dynasty. Last ruler of this Sayyid dynasty was Al-Ud Shah. Al-Uddin Shah is the last ruler of Sayyid dynasty. After his death, there was a lot of confusion in occupying the throne of Delhi. Then all noble chiefs have fought for the throne. Then one of the noble chief, who is the close person to Sayyid family, he became the ruler, that is Bahulal Lodi. He established his own dynasty, that is Lodi dynasty. He is the close family friend to Sayyid dynasty. With the mutual understanding only, he became ruler, that is Bahulal Lodi occupied throne of Delhi and he established Lodi dynasty. He was established this Lodi dynasty in 1451 AD. Basically, these Lodis were Afghan people. Lodis destroyed many Hindu temples. Among them, Sikandar Lodi and Ibrahim Lodi played important role to destroy the temples. Sikandar and Ibrahim Lodi. These two people played important role in the destruction of Hindu temples. This Ibrahim Lodi has a habit to humiliate his officials in the court. That means he used to criticize his own officials only in front of everyone and he used to enjoy that one. One of the governor under Ibrahim Lodi, whose name is Daulat Khan. One fine day, this Ibrahim Lodi criticized Daulat Khan in front of everyone. So Daulat Khan want to take revenge on Ibrahim Lodi. Daulat Khan just waiting for the right opportunity. So Daulat Khan thought that it's better to invite someone from outside the country who is very powerful and who is able to kill Ibrahim Lodi. So that Daulat Khan want a Mongolian. Mongolians are basically interested in plundering activities, not to occupy territory. So that only Daulat Khan want a Mongolian to fight with this Ibrahim Lodi. And then he went for searching a Mongolian. Later, finally, he found Babur. He asked Babur for help to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. Babur fought with Ibrahim Lodi. This battle is known as Battle of Panipat. This is the first battle of Panipat. In this battle, Babur killed Ibrahim Lodi. He killed Ibrahim Lodi and Babur established his own kingdom, that is Mughals. Actually, Daulat Khan thought that Mongolians will not show much interest to occupy their own territory. They are just meant for plundering activities. Now, what this Babur did is, after defeating Ibrahim Lodi, he established his kingdom. Now, Daulat Khan fought with Babur. Babur killed this Daulat Khan also. Finally, Mughal dynasty emerged. And this is the background of Mughal dynasty. Whenever you saw this battle of Panipat and battle of Rome, battle of Chandera, like that, these were the places. If you fight in Karnataka region, that is battle of Karnataka. If you fight in Bangalore region, that is nothing but battle of Bangalore. Just assume like that, okay? This is Panipat, which is near to Delhi. And this is the first battle of Panipat. This is how Delhi Sultanate got declined and the emergence of Mughal dynasty. Thanks for watching this video.